Thank you for that invitation. It's really awesome. I was so excited. Actually, Deaconess Rose invited me to come out in person before everything happened with the pandemic, and I had to decline that invitation for travel reasons related to our family, that I wasn't able to travel at that time. And so we see all the mysterious ways that things come together in life, and I am able to be here on a Zoom. So I'm really excited I could be here. I decorated my whole house for you. So I really love LWML, and I'm excited to encourage all of you in what you're doing there in the Atlantic District and share with you from our book. So I did just want to mention a few things before I get started. The first is my sister would have loved to be here. I'm going to give you a little shot of my sister if I can. There we go. There she is. She is actually on her way to the Upper Peninsula right now. So I think we had someone here from the Upper Peninsula. Deaconess Betty, I think. So anyway, she's not able to be here since she's traveling, but she wishes you all well and hopes we have a great time together. And she's you can kind of tell from the picture our personalities. And so the book also kind of shows our two different personalities. So you'll hear some essays from her that she wrote and some from me, and we're going to try to make it fun and engaging and entertaining. I also, during the scavenger hunt, I found some denim and I was excited to find it because right now, here's my denim that I found. Right now, my dresser is basically a hope chest. It's just things I hope I can wear again. So I was getting ready for the event today and I was like, ooh, gotta find something that fits. And so I thought I would just let you all know, most people would agree that when you're in front of a camera, like you gain 10 pounds just from standing in front of the camera. I just wanted to be totally honest and tell you I actually did that to myself. So it wasn't the camera, that was me. But you know, we've had lots of good snacks here during the lockdown. So I am still really happy to be here in my not fitting as well jeans, and someday they'll be great again. But without further ado, I'm going to introduce to you a little game that I've designed for us to play today, because as we were talking with President Linda before we opened up the waiting room here, she was talking about the fact that the book, some of the essays in the book can actually require a lot of slow, careful attention. And we don't really want to do that on a Zoom. We want to, you know, have some things that are lively and relatively easy to understand and relate to. So the game that I've designed is going to help us randomly select some of the essays of the book that I pulled out ahead of time. So I have a game board for us. We're going to see how well you can see this game, and I can make adjustments. I do think a Zoom training would be great. So I'm going to hold the board a little closer for the beginning, just so you can see what we're working with. And as you can see, we have little doors here on the back of our Ladylike game board. And behind each door is an essay. And so I'm going to be inviting ladies to pick a number, and that is a door that we will open up and find out what we're going to be studying. So we will go ahead and get started with that. The first person that I would like to call on to open a door is the person whose microphone was not working, because I was thinking she was probably thinking she wasn't going to get to participate much, but all that person has to do, I think her name is Adele, all that person has to do is hold up a number between 1 and 8 using her hands, or she could type a number between 1 and 8 in the chat box. So Adele, do we still have you? What? I can't see Adele on my grid.
Adelaide, and she's putting up number 1.
Adelaide, pick number 1. All right, way to go, Adelaide. So I'm removing number 1 from the board, and I'm going to come over here. All right. This is the door that was selected by our friend Adelaide, who has no microphone today, but she still got to say something important, which was the first essay of the book that we're going to read together. So number 1, don't know if you can see it there. It says, we know what to do when life gives us lemons, but what about when life gives us lemonade? And it's actually looking at the concept of when life gives you lemons, make something good of it from a different direction and a different perspective. And for anyone who has the book, the essay is on page 214. And for anyone who does not have the book, that is no problem at all, because I will be reading it for us. So just a little volume check. Are you able to hear me fine? Everything good? I have a headset I can put on if you think that's better, but if you hear me well, we'll keep going. I'm getting thumbs up. Okay. All right. So this essay is called When Life Gives You Lemonade. And I'll be reading it for you. And then at the end, we're going to have some comments. Although knowing me, I would probably find it hard not to comment during the essay as well. Again, if you have any comments you want to add to the chat box, that will be great to hear from you that way. So here's the essay. A tornado charges down the street, leaving one house a mangled mess, while the neighbor's is virtually unscratched. People naturally wonder about the experience of the survivors who crawl out of the basement of the destroyed home. What about those who climb the basement stairs to find their house in perfect condition in the face of devastating damage just yards away? This is life on the planet Earth. Some are facing terrible tragedies of one kind or another, and some just aren't. Of course, no life is completely free from trouble. Christ in his word has made this clear. There are times, though, when our troubles are really small by comparison. There's the woman who walks out of the imaging center having found out that her lump was not cancer. There is the woman with a good boss and reliable, rewarding employment. There is a woman whose family is happy and blessed. To cast the net even wider, there are people who are born in 21st century of the United States of America. There are people who have clean running water, food in ample supply, and electricity 24 hours out of every day, with only occasional exceptions for strong winds or ice storms. In fact, this probably applies to many people reading these words. When you are blessed, you could feel embarrassed or unworthy or even guilty on account of how good you've got it. You might ask God why you were born to a life in a secure home with carpeting and insulated walls on a quiet street, while others were born to life in a dirt floor shack with a corrugated tin roof. You could live with a sense of foreboding, thinking you must be due for trouble any day now. You could invent or imagine some problems in your life because having it so good feels unnatural and unsustainable. We all understand that we're to trust in God and his provision and protection amid troubles, but sometimes in the absence of troubles, we aren't sure just what to do with ourselves. For all the rich blessings in our life, we feel terrible for those without. We know that though we walked out of the Women's Health Center with a clear test result, there are many who didn't. While we enjoy our work, there are others without and very much in need. Compared to our household's occasional disagreement or misunderstanding, there are some with chronic unhappiness. Our child contracts and recovers from a stomach bug, while our cousin's child continues to wait and wait for a heart transplant. Those who suffer often ask God, why, to try to understand their trials. When we see the suffering in the world around us, we may ask God that why question from another angle. Why do I live in such a state of prosperity? Why don't I face financial hardship? Why are my loved ones and I happy and healthy and well? The Lord owes no answer to this question, regardless of who's asking it and for what reason. He does, however, have a few things to say that may or may not satisfy, but are nevertheless in his word. Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding. That's from Job 38. And from Romans 9, but who are you, O man, to answer back to God? Will what is molded say to its molder, why have you made me like this? Your life is your life because the Lord ordained it for you. If your closets and pantry are full, it's because he's seen to it. If you are healthy, that's his doing too. If your family is happy and well, he is to thank. When you are blessed, rejoice and be glad. He made you that way. Rather than ask why, first say thank you. to your heavenly Father, who has been so very good to you, far beyond what you deserve. Next, ask how and where. How can you care for others whose lives are harder? Where can you serve using the gifts and resources that you have in abundance? Romans 12 acknowledges the gifts of grace are not doled out uniformly. Our giving is no more than an extension of what we have first received. It is gauged proportionately. The one who is called to contribute should do so in generosity, having received much and therefore having much to give. The one who does acts of mercy is called to carry this out with cheerfulness. 2 Corinthians 8 gives more clear instruction. Your abundance at the present time should supply their need. Martin Chemnitz explained the haves and have-nots crisis years ago. He said, for God has distributed the human race into two categories. There are some who possess wealth, to whom the commandment has been delivered concerning the giving of alms. There are some needy people who are to be helped by alms, as the scripture says. There will not fail to be poor people in the land where you will dwell. No third category, those who neither are in need nor give, can be found in the scripture. God determines the distributions, and if you're in that first category, you are there according to his wisdom and will. It shouldn't embarrass or cause guilt. You're not a bad person for having been blessed as you have. When you feel that you have more than you need, you're right. You're richly blessed. Fill up the offering plate. Fill up the mite box because you can. Donate your hair or sew a scarf to provide warmth and covering for a woman whose hair is gone. Invite people to your home because you have one, and it is warm and comfortable and happy. Visit others in their affliction because you have the health and strength to walk to their room and sit at their bedside while they are laid low. Offer a ride to the person who can't get to church because her eyes are failing. Don't feel bad that you have it so good. Feel good that you can use all of those blessings in service to others whose lives aren't as easy as yours. See the Lord at work behind everything that is going well for you. He has a plan for those blessings beyond your own comfort and possibly beyond your own comfort zone. When life gives you lemonade, raise your glass high, give thanks, and share it. I have my wine bottle. Cheers. Anyone who found a wine bottle can look forward to sharing that with someone. So this essay was written kind of, as you can imagine, out of some experiences I've had in my own life, especially with international travel. And when I was working in Caracas as a deaconess intern, we would have small groups come to do mission work and to do service projects there in Venezuela. And something I noticed a lot was, especially the younger people, would express to me that they felt horrible knowing that they had so much and there were others who had so little. And for some of them, it was really the first time recognizing that contrast, especially in youth. You know, by the time we reach adulthood, most of us have understood that that contrast is very real and needs our attention and our love and our care. But for some of the young people, they simply had not seen those kinds of conditions before, and they really struggled with feelings of guilt or embarrassment over how much they had. And something I tried to do for all of them is what has helped me, is to say, yeah, you know, if I have something good going in my life, whether it is, you know, financial security or health or any other blessing that God could give us, whatever you have more of than you need, look at that pot as the pot that's meant for sharing, and seek out others who could be filled from what you have, and ways that God could use your abundance to meet other needs and other lacks. So that was the essay about when life gives you lemonade. And I do think in all of our lives as Christians, I love you. I got a good dance move, so I know that was positive feedback. Thank you for the dance move. Anyone is welcome to do dance moves. I got to get my grid up here so I can see if anyone else wants to give me a dance move. Okay, seeing nodding and smiling. Thank you for that. So I think in all of our lives, we could all think of ourselves in either one of those categories at different times or for different reasons. And so what I encourage all of you, I love this, President Linda is saying, this is what the LWML is all about. That is absolutely right. That is definitely what the LWML is all about. I love how the LWML gathers women together and inspires and encourages us to give from what we have to love and serve our neighbor. That is just a wonderful gift to the church. Seeing lots of great feedback here in the chat box. Thank you for that. So I hope this essay makes all of you feel really inspired to think about the ways that you can use the blessings God's given you to serve and bless others. So, oh yes, I love that, the splankna. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Deaconess Janine, where are you on my grid? I'm looking for you. Oh, I see you. Hi, friend. Hi, Deaconess Janine. So splankna, I've heard described to me as kind of like the guts, you know, like the just that all that stuff inside that's all coiled up, the guts, and how that's supposed to move us in mercy to others. So since Deaconess Janine Bowling called my attention to that, I'm going to listen, we have our first winner. Deaconess Janine Bowling, you're still listening. I see you moving. You win a joke from me in your email, okay? And you're going to like it. It's a Deaconess specific joke based on your comment, and you're going to love it. So it's just for Deaconess Janine. She can decide later when she sees you all at your next LWML gathering if she wants to share it. But Deaconess Janine, splankna is the guts, the innards. Like it's that when you're moved in the bowels, you know, like something all the way inside of you moves you to respond with compassion and mercy. This is how we talk about it. So President Linda was asking for that explanation. So Deaconess Janine, somehow you got to get your email there in that chat box, or I will look you up. Are you in the CDC directory?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can send you, I'll just send you a direct message on here, my email.
Okay. She's the first winner of a homemade joke. So congratulations to Deaconess Janine. She'll be getting that later. Way to go. Way to go. All right. We're going to move on with our game now. And I'm going to be keeping secret jokes. She can share it. It's not a secret. It's just custom to her since she was the winner. See, President Linda's wishing she won. You know, they're the haves and the have-nots, and you didn't win this prize, okay? We love you, but you did not win this prize. And it'll be up to Deaconess Janine to decide if she wants to share the wealth. She did win the homemade joke. So, all right. Yes, splankna means compassion and mercy. It's the kind that moves us inside of us to respond with that compassion and mercy. So I'm writing down in my notes here the email address for this prize. Okay, be watching for it. Not right now because I'm leading a Zoom session. Okay, so not right now. All right, by the end of the day, I'm giving myself a deadline. Okay, we are going to go on and hear another chapter, another essay from the book. And for this, the next person who gets to pick the next door, if your favorite color is red, raise your hand or put your name in the chat box if your favorite color is red. I'm looking for someone whose favorite color is red. Anyone like red? Oh, wait, we got some in the corner. Friend, okay, Joan Reed. We need to unmute Joan Reed. Hello, Joan Reed. We're working on unmuting you. Can she unmute herself, Deaconess?
Yes.
Okay, you can unmute yourself, Joan Reed. You are the next participant in the Ladylike game. I would say contestant, but everyone's a winner. It's not a contest. Okay, hi, Joan. I'm so glad to hear your favorite color is red. My husband is from Nebraska, so we love the Huskers. And so I just wanted to pick someone who liked the color red. So I'm going to bring the game board over, and you get to pick the next door.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So here's our choices that are left. And Joan is going to pick which number. So 1 has already been chosen. So you're going to have to pick between 2 and 8.
4.
It worked. I needed someone to pick 4. So I invited someone whose favorite color was red. Total manipulation of the game. I don't usually do that. So Joan, thank you so much for kind of gaming the system with me here today. I'm really excited that we picked door number 4. I'm going to put my board back and then we'll see what's behind door number 4. So Joan picked 4, which we never could have seen coming. And number 4 says, this is the essay describes. Some of you might be able to see that, and I'll read it out loud if you can't. Is it backwards when you look at it? Oh, it's too small. Yeah. Okay. It says, our society dares you to eat a whole pie. Are you up for it? So this is an essay about eating a whole pie. And some ladies are ready to eat the whole pie. All right, awesome. So this is another essay in the book, Ladylike. This was actually, so the first essay that I read during our game, the Life Gives You Lemonade essay, this is just some author background. That essay was one of the later ones written, and I was running out of ideas, and my sister and I both had a responsibility to write a certain number of essays. And so I had been talking to my mom, who's a wonderful Lutheran woman, and I said, I'm looking for more essay ideas, and I'm kind of running out of inspiration. And she gave me the idea to write the one about when life gives you lemonade, which I find really inspiring coming from my mom, because my mom is Jan Gilbert. I don't know if any of you have ever met her at an LWML convention, but her name is Jan Gilbert. And she has experienced some hardships in her life, and she still regards herself as someone that God's given lemonade to. She still regards herself as someone who's been positively blessed and can bless others in spite of a difficult disability. So it really kind of, put things in perspective for me that she would be the one to say, you could write about this, about how we have so much and there's so many ways God can use us and how that's a positive thing. So she inspired that essay about when life gives us lemonade. Now, this second essay, which is the pie eating contest, this was one of the first essays I wrote when we were invited to put together this book. And it's on page 18 for anyone who has the book. But again, anyone who does not have the book, you are just great right where you are, because I'm going to be reading it for you. And this essay is the one about when life gives you lemonade, gives you some kind of concrete Christian encouragement and instruction. This is more of a commentary. It doesn't necessarily say, now go do this, or, here's the Christian ticket for approaching this. It's actually just more commentary on things that I think women may experience today. And the point of writing the essay was just to, I guess, share with anyone who would read the book that I've noticed it. Like, I've noticed the struggle and I've noticed the challenge. But it doesn't exactly say, here's how to fix it, because sometimes that's how life is. Sometimes we just have to sit and reflect upon a challenge and ask for God's help in it, but there's not necessarily a precise solution to the dilemma or the challenge. So as you're reading, or listening, I guess I wanted to warn you ahead of time, if you're looking for the conclusion to explain how to make this struggle go away, that's not coming. But I will have some remarks at the end to give us some hope and encouragement as well. So here it is, the pie eating contest. This was read door number 4, picked by Joan. Thank you, Joan. A little girl walked into a kitchen and saw a delicious pie on the table. French silk, if I'm the one calling the shots, but that's not central to the story. The little girl squealed with delight. I want to eat it all. You can't have it all, her mother replied. It wouldn't be good for you. End of discussion. Many years later, another kitchen and another pie. This time, there's a different response. It smells so good. It looks so good. The girl, now a grown woman, squeals, I want to eat it all. And everyone cheers. Yes to the pie. Yes to the eating of it all. Go you. She starts in on the pie, and life is sweet. After a few large slices, she's a little bit surprised that having it all is not as easy or as enjoyable as she had anticipated. She keeps slugging along. Pie, 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 pie. She was the one who asked for this in the first place. She'd better get through it, and she'd better do it with a smile on her face and 2 thumbs up. Those later slices don't taste nearly as good as the earlier ones. She keeps forcing them down, though. Yum, yum. Yum? Ugh. By now, her stomach is positively churning, producing all manner of sounds and sensations. The gluttonous undertaking overwhelms her digestive system. Her body tries to process the sugar coursing through her system, but it isn't going too well. All that sweetness seemed energizing at first, but now there are threatening signs of a system-wide crash. The exertion of the task leaves even her teeth hurting. Thoughts of not worth it and why flood her mind. This really isn't what she was counting on. While eating the whole pie is possible and permissible, it sure ain't pretty. Women keep hearing that we can have it all. We can earn flashy degrees. We can have meaningful work in any field of interest. We can have a family. We can travel. We can write a book. Wait, what? We make it all hum without losing our figure or our sanity or our joie de vivre. We can have it all. The entire pie is tempting. It almost feels wasteful not to eat it all. What about those other slices? What would become of them? Gone is the mother who said matter-of-factly, you can't have it all. It wouldn't be good for you. New mom on the block has a pretty hefty investment in the eating. Think about it, she reasons. What would become of those slices you don't eat? Go for it now while you're young and have a strong stomach. Otherwise, those untouched slices will get old and dry up, and they won't be any good when you finally have an appetite for them. And let's not forget that my friends and I worked hard to make this whole pie business possible for you in the first place. So, while it was once understood that eating a whole pie would be overwhelming, taxing, and generally ill-advised, now the pressure is on. You can have it all, goes in one ear, and by the time it's done rattling around in our brain for a while, it sounds a lot more like, you better have it all. Or, you'll be missing out if you don't. Or, you'll look weak if you can't handle it. Women are biting off a lot. And in the tremendous task of chewing, swallowing, digesting, many are feeling the effects of the have-it-all lifestyle. We're tired a lot. We're sick a lot. We feel like we're actually missing out on some of life's sweetest moments by having it all. How can we savor and enjoy any one bite or any one slice while we are cramming it all down our throats so relentlessly? But we look around. The other ladies seem to be downing their pies just fine. They are climbing the ladder. They are busting through the legendary glass ceiling. They're doing these things while arriving everywhere on time, thawing quinoa-based freezer meals, and hitting the gym for their mandatory me time. Their husbands adore them. Their kids win every spelling bee. It seems like the system is working for them, which makes the rest of us feel all the more discouraged. We trudge along, fork in, fork out. We're always looking for our tongues and wondering how we'll handle the giant pile of pie plates accumulating in our kitchen sink. What's wrong with me? Why is this making me nauseous when the other gals are happily scarfing down the delicacies of this liberated life? More pie, more pie, more pie. My hunch? By the end of the pie eating contest, even the winners feel a little sick. Sadly, that's where the essay ends, which is like, I feel like maybe now if I went back and wrote it, I wish I put some encouragement for people. I think it's really relatable. I think that most women could say, you know what? Yeah, I have felt that way. I have felt sick at trying to accomplish everything and do it in a way that pleases everyone. And, you know, I think it's a very relatable essay. But again, it is just more of a commentary and not so much advice on what to do about it. So When I wrote it, it probably came from, that's great. President Linda's right. A great place to begin a discussion, right? A great place to begin a discussion. For anyone reading the book, there are a lot more hopeful essays for women in the book. So thankfully, this book is toward the beginning. So if you, or this essay is toward the beginning. So if you read this essay and feel really cast down, I just encourage you to keep going. Especially the last section, the last quarter of the book has a lot of really encouraging, inspiring essays for ladies related to Christian living. But Karima is saying, I felt this essay in my heart when I first read it. I think that if I asked women, did any line in that essay, kind of feel familiar to you, most women would have some kind of a nod, like, let's have some nods. Anybody? I'm seeing some nods. Yeah, thank you. So most women would say, yeah, I have tried to accomplish a lot and I have felt the pressure of it. And I have also not only felt the pressure of it, but felt the discouragement of it. So the reason, do we have a comment here? Did someone try to chime in? If you're trying to chime in, okay, no. One of the reasons why I don't think the goal of this essay was to tell people what to do about it is because everyone's life is different. So everyone might be feeling this pressure on a different point, in a different way. So if I tried to say, here's what I might do to relieve some of this pressure on me, it really might not help 9 out of 10 women. It would help the one lady whose life kind of looked like mine, maybe. But what I hope for this essay is that it will lead all of you to do some reflection and to put some careful thought into what you're doing in life, why you're doing it, and if there's one point of examination that I think could apply to all of us, it's, is there a way we could look at that pie and say, a couple of these pieces, I don't need right now. I don't need those right now. And this can be hard, especially if you're concerned that they might not be there for you when you get back, right? So I hear this a lot when it comes to job opportunities. Women will say, with everything going on right now in other areas of my life, this isn't the best time for this job, but it might not be around later, right? This I hear all the time. And something that I've had to help myself think about is, if I miss an opportunity now because I'm too full from eating too much pie, and I have to say no to something, you can imagine what you might have to say no to so that you don't feel so overwhelmed. If I have to say no to it now, I don't have to live in fear that it won't be available later. Either that piece of pie will be available later and God will make it possible for me to enjoy it at a later time, or it won't, and God will be with me and guiding me and caring for me in other ways. So the biggest point that I do think could apply to any woman is to recognize if there is any way you can get out of some of that pie that's making you feel sick, look for Christian help, have Christian conversations with others to try to help you based on your life, understand how you might get out of a little bit of pie, and then recognize that whatever you're missing out on, whatever you've sacrificed or given up for the sake of a better feeling of wellness in your Christian life, either God will make it available later or he won't. Blessed be the name of the Lord. So that was the pie eating contest. All right. Thanks for thumbs up and nods, everybody. We are going to keep playing the game now. And this time, I got a thumbs up. Thanks for I have a thumbs up here. Thanks for the little icon. Somebody figured out how to give me my emoji thumbs up. Now I want to give an emoji thumbs up. I got another from President Linda. President Linda, whenever you do your Skype training, I need in on it. I need help. Okay. All right. So we are going to have another essay picked from our board now. And for this one, I would like, so President Linda, you probably know a lot of your LWML members there in the Atlantic District. And I would like for you to pick our next participant in the game. President Linda gets to pick the next participant. She knows.
Oh boy, this is a tough one. There's so many good ones.
Yeah, sure.
I think I would like to choose Anita Dykman because she is active and she's doing a lot of stuff and she encourages us to get funding through Thrivent. And Anita, you can pick the next door.
All right. Anita, signal me. Where are you, Anita? Hi, I see you.
Number 3.
Number 3. Okay, very good. So I'm going to grab number 3. Anita made it easy. I didn't have to pick up my board that time. I got number 3 here. Okay. This number 3 says, this is, there we go. There's number 3. Number 3 says, we imagine a happy future awaits us behind door number, not ours. And this is about going through life, and it addresses the sin of coveting and the godly solution of contentment. So that is door number 3. And if you have a copy of the book, you can open to page 178. And if you don't, you can just listen along, and you will be in good shape that way. Okay, here we go. So this one, this essay, you guys have done a good job. We've gotten a good variety of different things in the book. So that's the nice thing about the random board. You don't know what you're going to get, but if you wrote it, you like it all. You know, it's just great. So this is called 8, 9, 10, last but not least. If you were asked to rank the commandments in order of importance, numbers 8, 9, and 10 might just keep their place at the bottom. Things like idolatry and murder are big no-nos. Adultery and theft are wrong, though maybe not as bad as shooting someone. But lying? Coveting? Come on. Lying is bad, but surely not on par with physical harm or putting other things before God. And most of us suspect that coveting might just be thrown in to make the number an even 10. There may be something to those observations, and it's a bit artificial to rank something like the commandments. But there's a strong case to be made for commandments 8, 9, and 10 being every bit as harmful as the others. God formed Adam out of the dust and placed him in the Garden of Eden. God made to spring up every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. In addition to the trees, there was water. A river runs through it. Then God made the animals. And last, he made Adam's gorgeous companion, Eve. The grass is greener than green. What more could they want? There is certainly nothing they needed. Lunch is literally low-hanging fruit. There are no thorns or briars to disturb the evening stroll by the river. The temperature is perfect. No sweatshirt or even shirt required. They have nothing to fear from the animals. Yet, even in this setting, and here's the power of a lie, the serpent succeeds in making Eve dissatisfied with paradise. She is not content with God's will for her in the place that God declared very good. The serpent is cunning. He is a master of exaggeration and persuasion. Did God actually say, "You shall not eat of any tree"? He twists God's word. His half-truths and outright lies tempt Eve to place herself above God's decree. With the snake's false testimony dancing in her head, she looks over the tree. I'm moving ahead a little for time. She looks over the tree and wonders if God is holding out on her. The food looks good. It is a delight to the eyes. Plus, the tree was to be desired to make one wise. What's not to like? So she takes some fruit and eats, and then she gives some to Adam. That right there is the power of the lie and coveting. Even paradise cannot live up. Nothing can satisfy like a lie. The fantasy is not true, and it never will be. And this is exactly what makes it seem better than real life, 10 times out of 10. Coveting makes us unhappy with the reality of our life. It is an unquenchable thirst because it is a thirst for unreality. The grass looks greener on the other side, and we totally don't get that it's AstroTurf or CGI or a mirage. It's pretend. It's false belief. All that make-believe drives to dissatisfaction and discontentment with the adequate yard that God has actually given us. Fiction portrays idealistic scenarios that represent no one's actual life. The follow your heart philosophy does not acknowledge the terrible damage in the wake of such a self-centered hunt. The Hollywood effect on us is often subtle. They're a bunch of characters doing what we all wish we could do. They can make it all happen without the hang-ups of real life. Their world is fantasy, but we foolishly think it can be our real deal. We keep chasing after what's not ours, no matter what dismal outcomes we've bumped into before. We convince ourselves that this time, this situation is surely different. We know there are times when God's commands really apply, and that the commands usually protect us from something harmful, but we trick ourselves into thinking that this time is not one of them. I would be truly happy if blank were my situation in life. You fill in that blank with something other than what God has given, whether it's another car, house, job, boss, income, spouse, child, parent, lifestyle, whatever. You fill in that blank. Lies and coveting lead us to imagine that a happy future is just behind door number 2 or whatever door isn't rightfully ours. We picture opening that door to our ideal life rather than to the death and grief that God tells us sin will bring about. As the proverb teaches, there is a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way to death. The way that seems right is a deception. It's a temptation. Like the one the serpent put to Eve, you can be like God. You can decide what is right and wrong for yourself. You can work your way out of this substandard chapter in your life and write your own happy ending. Satan's lie led someone who was created in God's image and likeness to believe that she could somehow be more like God by disobeying him. This is the madness of the sin of commandments 8, 9, and 10. That stripe of sin conditions us for the unreal, which can only come at the expense of the truth. The Apostle Paul shared a secret to counter the lie and the coveting. I have learned in whatever situation I am in to be content. Contentment responds to the temptations of the world, the devil, and our sinful nature. It responds, I don't need that lie. I don't need that imaginary life. I have everything I need and more right here with me in real life. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. Contentment looks out our own front door and recognizes that the neighbor's lawn doesn't apply. It isn't what's important. What really matters, what deserves our appreciation and our tending and our attention, is the grass that constitutes our rightful and God-given lot in life. In looking out at the garden, we must remind ourselves that the secret to happiness is not in the lying whisper that the snake hisses in our ear. The secret is in the plain word of God. There we find contentment in the one true God who richly and daily provides me with all that I need to support this body and life. So this essay about coveting and contentment, as with many of the essays, I think that people say, well, is the book about you? Right? People ask that because people think if you're writing a book, it's bound to be about you. And I just say, people also say, write what you know. So if I'm writing about a sin in the book, it's probably because I know about it. And if I know about it pretty well, it's probably because it's mine. And so in this essay, I wrote about what I know. And I wrote about that mixed up idea we get that our life could be happier, our life could be better if it were different. And the usual temptation is to think that the different version that someone around us has is the one that would be better for us. So whatever it is that might, when you're going about your daily life and you just think, oh, if only blank, you know, it might not even be necessarily a worldly accumulation. It just might be a circumstance or a change in a relationship that you're not able to change or something along those lines. I think when we think if only blank, we should recognize that we're probably listening to a lie in our own head that says that version of life would be better for us. And we're also falling into the temptation of coveting, of wanting what is not meant for us, what is not given to us. So this essay tries to help us see that all of those things that we wish for, or we think this could make my life feel better or easier, all of those things, if we actually had them, it wouldn't look the way we imagine, because they're not real. So even if you said, if I have that job, then it'll be great, it won't be what you're thinking, because you're thinking of how someone else has that job. But then if you had that job, it would be you in it. So it wouldn't be the same thing anymore. It would be, this is what I try to emphasize, is whatever it is that you're wishing that's not meant for you, it wouldn't actually work if you somehow got your hands on it. It's kind of like, you know, a wild goose chase, that as soon as you grab that goose, it stops being a goose. It has completely changed because now it's in your hands where it didn't belong, right? So I just want to encourage all of you to examine your own hearts and lives, and if it's this sin or any sin, to know that the Lord is with us in our struggle, and Christ understands temptation, and Christ made the way for us by resisting every temptation. And because of that, we know that when we fail in these temptations to listen to the lie or to want what is not ours, we're forgiven in Christ, we are loved in Him, and He sends His Spirit to change us, to grow us, to move us in the right and godly path of righteousness. So there is help for all of us who struggle with this sin of discontentment or this sin of wanting what is not ours. There's help for us in Christ. And I think the best help for us is reading His Word and being filled with everything that He has for us there. Those beautiful words, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Those words are for me in my struggles, and they are for you in your struggles. So that was, I was hoping we could get through 3 essays, and we accomplished it. I'm really happy we did. Thank you so much for having me, and special thanks to Karima and Deaconess Rojas and President Linda. I was so glad to be here. I really, really loved this. Thank you for having me.